Changes to Elise, Twisted Fate, Magic Resist items, and the jungle in this episode of the Patch Preview. Hey Summoners, welcome to the Patch Preview. I'm Jat, here with game designer Feral Pony to talk about some of the changes in this patch. We'll start with Elise. She's one of the strongest, most versatile champions in the game with her consistent damage and utility. As a champion who's generally considered our priority pick or ban in competitive play, Elise has few overall weaknesses, and the high strength of her kit seems to be crowding out other potential champion choices. What are we doing to rein in some of that power?
So Elise has been a really strong pick for some time, and while we do think her damage output is high, lowering her numbers would only be a band-aid solution to a much larger problem. These changes are more focused on reducing Elise's frustrating gameplay elements, like her spiderlings. While spiderlings are core to her gameplay and damage output, they don't have any real interaction with players. In fact, most teams just ignore them because they're so difficult to kill. To make them a bit more vulnerable, the base health of her spiderlings is going way down, but their armor and magic resistance is going up. This way, champions with more penetration can take out her spiderlings to limit her damage potential, and Elise will have to shift back into human form more often to replenish them.
Additionally, Repel is a large source of Elise's power and frustration. Not only does it provide temporary invulnerability, it also gives Elise absurd chase potential with its seemingly endless range. What are we changing here?
Elise is an extremely challenging champion to play. When we designed her, we wanted to include a little additional range with Repel so that she could land on opponents just outside the targeting indicator. This was done to help players better access her power. Players got a lot better with Elise, and we no longer feel this additional range is necessary, so we're removing it. This should make Elise more consistent with her targeting indicators, so players will know what to expect when playing as Elise and against her.
Now, let's talk about Twisted Fate. TF is a strong pick in all levels of play, and he's also had a lot of balance changes in the past. What are we doing this time, and why?
Our first adjustment is to change Twisted Fate's passive from being a global gold bonus to an individual gold bonus. Now, Twisted Fate will get a random amount of bonus gold between 1 and 6 each time he kills an enemy unit. As a gambler, these dice will be weighted in his favor to fit his creative theme. We had two major reasons to change TF's passive. The first was due to opposing players of equal skill losing their matchups simply due to bonus gold from TF's passive. The second reason is this change is more in line with our view on global passives. Due to the nature of a global passive, the individual impact is small because it gets amplified by the number of teammates you have. This doesn't provide anywhere near the level of gameplay or satisfaction we want, even if it is really strong from a purely numerical standpoint, so we folded some of that power back into Twisted Fate.
The other common complaint when playing against Twisted Fate is how much persistent threat he creates with just pick a card. Previously, Twisted Fate had 10 seconds to pick and throw his card, regardless of when he locked it. This allowed TF to lock a card immediately and then sit on a gold card for long periods of time without throwing it. What are we changing here?
We love the high skill aspect of pick a card, but we think it needs a shorter window of action. Locking a gold card immediately in the first second and then waiting 9 more seconds is just way too generous. Now TF will have 8 seconds to choose his card, and once chosen, will have 4 more seconds to throw it. Overall, this might be a small nerf for players who like to prime their cards well in advance, but we want to promote that faster, more deliberate gameplay.
Let's talk about magic resistance. Since the beginning of Season 3, magic resistance has rarely been a personal stat. Most teams have been relying heavily on their teammates to get Runic Bulwark as their main defense against AP champions. How are we opening up magic resistance builds?
Well, you're definitely right about magic resistance falling into more of an aura stat. This season, many players are opting for Runic Bulwark as their only magic resistance item. This patch, we're removing Runic Bulwark from the game, but we're allowing Aegis of the Legion to upgrade into Locket of the Iron Solari. We like the strategic niche of reducing area of effect damage and felt that these two effects, the magic resistance aura and the active shield, work well together on a single item. Furthermore, combining Aegis and Locket opens up gold and item slots for players who were previously pigeonholed into buying them both.
So now with Runic Bulwark out of the game, what options exist for tanks looking to heavily itemize for magic resistance?
We've adjusted a number of our existing magic resist items this patch and added a couple of new ones. One of these is a new mid-tier magic resist item, Spectre's Cowl. This gives health and magic resistance as well as a small amount of health regen each time you get hit by an enemy champion. This item also builds into Spirit Visage and Banshee's Veil for high-end magic resistance. Basically, these adjustments are to refocus magic resistance as more of a personal stat. If players want to defend against magic damage, we want their primary defense to come from their own items, not a single overly powerful aura item.
Our final discussion point is the jungle. 2 patches ago, we moved back the spawn timers for small jungle camps in an attempt to limit early lane imbalances. Unfortunately, even with the 155 spawn timer, bottom lane is still heavily impacted by early double golems. What are we doing to address this?
We thought pushing the jungle spawn timers to 155 would be a strong enough deterrent that players would need to make significant trade-offs to do double golems. Unfortunately, certain champions could still rush them for an experience advantage without losing out much in lane. This time, we're pushing the small jungle camp spawn time to 205 to ensure this won't be a continued problem.
Another jungle change in that patch was the greatly increased experience that was put into the golem and lizard monsters. This patch, some of that experience is getting shifted around. Why?
We initially added experience to the golem and lizard to compensate for the delayed jungle spawn of small camps. Unfortunately, an unwanted side effect of that was we effectively made the early game all about who could smite that buff monster first. Opponents could hit level 2 solely by stealing the buff alone. Now there's still great benefit to sniping the buff monster with smite, but it won't completely devastate one jungler's experience. If you want to play that shutdown game where you completely bully out an opposing jungler, you'll really need to commit to the positional advantage in order to take the full camp, as opposed to simply lurking in the shadows to steal a single monster.
Well, that wraps up our discussions for this patch. Thanks for the talk, Feral Pony.
Thanks for having me.
And thanks to everyone for tuning in. You can read the full patch notes in the description link below. We'll see you next patch.